Hey everyone, this is Heather, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a bookshelf. Not just any bookshelf, it's pretty cool and rustic, and I've got a unique way to put it together. So I'm using these 6x6 reclaimed lumber posts as supports for my shelf, and I laid them all out. They're all different sizes. So I laid them all out and drew some straight lines where I wanted the shelves to be. This will make a little bit more sense later, but having them all side by side like this made sure that all the shelf spots were in the same position. I'm going to be using half lap joints for this shelf, so as you can see by this, you cut halfway through the shelf and the support, and then they kind of puzzle piece together, and you don't have to actually use any hardware for this style of shelving. After I was done marking out where I wanted my shelves to be, and I also trimmed my posts down to size, I went ahead and made 2 cuts on the outer portion of where my shelves will be, and then I made several passes in between these cuts. This method makes it really easy to clear out these little notches for our shelves to slip in. Then once you've cut your notches, you can go in with a chisel or even a flathead screwdriver and just break out the notches. And you should have a pretty clean area for your shelf to slip into, and if you want to clean it up with a chisel, you can. I went ahead and repeated this same step for all 4 of my shelving layers. Again, lining these up, just make sure that all your shelves are at the same height. And then I went ahead and grabbed a piece that I would be using as a shelf and just checked how snug my notches would be. I wanted them to be pretty snug, so I didn't have to use any screws for this project. As you can probably conclude from the shelf drama in this clip, my notches were pretty snug. Once I was happy with my supports, I went on to notching my shelves, and just like with the posts, I lined these all up, or rather stacked them, and made the marks all at once so that the notches would be perfectly lined up. I used a Sawzall to cut out my notches, but you can use whatever kind of saw you have on hand, and a handsaw would actually be really sufficient in getting these notches cut out. When my boards were all notched and prepped, I attached my post to the wall into studs, and I had to pre-drill a little ways into the post so that my screw could sink through the post and into a stud. This just depends on the screw length. I was using 2.5-inch screws, so I did have to drill in a couple inches and leave about 1 inch of post left to hold the screw in, and then I just sunk my screw right through the post and into the stud. This will take a little bit of thinking beforehand so that you can make sure that your notches in your shelves are gonna correlate with where your studs are. Or you can just use wall anchors, whatever suits your fancy. Just make sure that these posts are secured to the wall so that your shelving unit doesn't fall forward. If your shelves are just a little too snug to fit into the notches by hand, it helps to have a rubber mallet or a hammer and board to put a little extra muscle behind forcing these shelves into place. I did find that even where the shelves weren't perfectly snug, they still stayed in place really well, and so I didn't end up having to use any screws to secure these shelves into place. Our final shelf was very long, so we had to get creative with the way we could get it upstairs without dinging up the wall, so we ended up going through the window. And basically, our kids concluded that we're heroes, because this is pretty much the most epic thing they've ever seen us do. Parkour. After we survived putting our last shelf in, I did give this whole shelving unit a good wash down with Murphy oil. And then I wanted to keep it pretty natural, so I used a satin water-based polyurethane to seal the whole entire thing. It's easiest if you get one of these little mini rollers. It'll go way faster than trying to brush on the sealer. Then after the sealer was done, my shelving unit was donesies. And if you don't recognize it from any of my other videos, this is actually my parents' house, and I'm doing a little mini makeover for them in their upstairs family room. This is part of it. So follow along to see what other projects we do, but my husband and I have total shelf envy over this, and we definitely want to build one of these units in our home. It's just so cool and unique. It's a total statement piece, and it's actually pretty easy to put together.